Okay, welcome to another episode of the Private Practice Podcast. You would have noticed there's no jingle at the start, and there won't be one at the end either. And the reason for that is because we're on a road trip. Yes, we are in the car and we are in the beautiful countryside of the Hepburn region in beautiful, beautiful Victoria. I love it here so much. I come away once a quarter, it's my happy space. And anyway, what I wanted to do was share with you something that I feel is ginormous. I feel like this is really big and I had to share it. So, yeah, I hadn't planned on recording a podcast, but when inspiration strikes, you got to roll with it, right? So, without any further ado, let me just tell you what happened. Okay, so, um, yesterday was a real flurry in the morning because yesterday was Monday, today's Tuesday. And for some reason, well, we all know the reason, it's ADD, right? But for some reason, I got the date that I was leaving wrong. I thought I was leaving today, but actually, I was leaving yesterday. And I only found out on Sunday night because I was on my computer and I got a Google notification saying, enjoy your holiday tomorrow, Brooklyn. And then I was like, what? And then I got a text message from the accommodation that I'm staying at saying, they're really looking forward to receiving me tomorrow. And here's all the details for how to enter the property and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, what? So I felt like I lost a day. And it really threw me out. So then everything became sort of a mad dash. And yesterday morning, I dropped Buddy off at his babysitter, Caroline. I dropped him off at her place and then started the drive up to the country, which is about 2 hours. And as I was on the drive, I almost immediately started to experience a really bad headache, like my skull was getting cracked in half type headache, and I just knew it was a migraine. And, I thought, oh gosh, that's, not a great way to start a trip. And, I was kind of like feeling a bit upset about it, and I really wanted it to go away. And anyway, so I drank some water and I had my breakfast while I was in the car. And I was thinking, just give everything time to sort of settle in, then you'll be okay. It didn't happen. Probably about half an hour, 40 minutes later, I thought, I need to do something about this. So I don't know why. I don't know why, but it popped into my head to call upon my guiding forces out there in the universe. So, called upon my pa, who's crossed over, who I feel I have a very strong connection with, in terms of energy and stuff like that. So, I called upon him. Then I called upon the archangels who help with healing and stuff like that. Then I thought while I'm here, why not just expand it out to things like ascended masters, and then expand it even further to anybody who was gifted in healing and had special talents. And only being sure, of course, to call in the right people, for the highest good of me and all others and stuff like this. So I'm calling everybody in and I'm saying it out loud while I'm driving in the car. And then, I'm like just sort of expressing gratitude that they're all here. And then I'm expressing gratitude that they're even in my orbit, because I like to believe that there are, energies, people, whatever you want to call it, in my orbit. I really feel like, I'm always supported. And anyway, so I wanted to express gratitude for that before I asked for something. And then I asked them, could you please help me with the migraine? You know, and then while I was there and I was going into detail about it, like I was like, please, you know, help shift my vibration so that it connects with a vibration of healing and expansion and openness. I appreciate that the reason that I may be experiencing this migraine is because something has happened to my body and my body is healing, and these symptoms and this pain that I'm noticing is actually the healing happening, and I'm very, very thankful for that. But at the same time, it kind of hurts a little bit, and so it would be great if you could, sort of do something about that. And so anyway, then I'm getting into this real role with it, and then I thought, well, you know what, while I'm here, it's been a little while, may as well, ask for a few other things. So I did, and I just sort of put it out there and I said, you know, I would love for you to support me in the rapid manifestation of my current goals, dreams, and desires that I have for my business, for my health, for my well-being, for my lifestyle, for my finances, all of those kinds of things. And then I spoke about momentum because, it's like, as I said, I say it every episode, don't I? But I'm just fully obsessed with momentum. It's like the best program ever. And the women in there are just so, so, so amazing. I mean, I can tell you another story about that, which I might at the end. But anyway, they've been just so amazing. And so, yeah, I was like, show me what I can do to support them in manifesting their outcomes. Do you know what I mean? And then I was like, please support any women who are on the periphery who are aware that they're needing some support, or they're aware that they're needing some guidance or some help and things like that, but they've got their own blocks. Maybe it's a self-sabotage block, maybe it's a limiting belief, maybe it's blocks around money, maybe it's blocks around other commitments that they've got, whatever it is. Please support them in feeling as if those blocks are melting away, as if those blocks are dissolving, so that they may be able to get the support that they're divinely entitled to receive but aren't receiving yet from me. Please also clear any blocks in my path that might be, oh my God, I just had another light bulb moment then. I'll come back to it. Just as I was talking to you then, I've just become suddenly aware of something else that might be getting in the way of me lining up in their vision, in their line of sight, in their energetic orbit, as a helper, as a guide, as somebody who has, you know, solutions, remedies, tonics for whatever it is that might be blocking them from experiencing the level of success that they want in their business, whether it's clients, money, lifestyle, fulfillment, creating ripple effects, building sustainability, expanding the team, like whatever it is. So it's going on like this, right? And anyway, I noticed that as I was talking about all of this, I was getting like really excited about it, because now my mind is opening up to the possibilities, and it feels really, really good to do that. And I'm like talking about my ideal client and who she is and how I want to help her, but yeah, she might be going through this thing at the moment. So please, if there's something that you can do to support her, please give her that support, because she's really needing it right now. And do you know what I mean? And it just felt so good. So anyway, I end up finishing this dialogue that I'm having with, the universe, the source, guides, whoever. I finish the conversation is the point. Keep driving, and probably about, I don't know, 15 minutes later, this is the juicy stuff, right? So I needed to give you the context, but this is the juicy stuff. 15 minutes later, I'm driving along and I see a great big blue sign that is on a fence, and it's to do with a candidate for upcoming elections in the city. And there's his photo on the left, and then on the right, there are some bullet points. And I swear, hand on my heart, hand on my soul, I swear that the very first bullet point said law of intention. And I did a double take. And then I looked and it said law of intention. And I was like, what? What's he talking about, law of intention? Like, there's no such law. Like, I'm all over the universal laws, believe you me. Like, I studied them in depth years ago. There's no such thing as a law of intention. And I was like, who's this guy? And like, what's going on? What's law of intention? And then anyway, I continued to drive, and a minute or two later, I pull up at an intersection, and I'm the first car in the queue, waiting at the lights, waiting for them to change from red to green. While I'm there, I'm just kind of looking around, just observing my surroundings, and I see there's the sign again. Here it is in a different place on a different fence, this big blue sign, guy's photo on the left, says law of intention up the top. So anyway, because I'm stopped at the lights, I pull out my glasses and I like lean over and I'm like, oh my gosh, it does not say law of intention at all. It actually says low inflation. But that's not the thing, right? So I'm like, why on earth did I keep seeing law of intention when it clearly says low inflation? It was weird, but it stuck with me. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. And so as I continued the drive to the country, it was on my mind, and I was thinking, what is this? And I was thinking about all the things to do with intention and stuff like that. And I was thinking about the context of what I was talking about to source in the universe at the time earlier in the car. And I was trying to like make sense of it all, and I just couldn't. I was coming up blank. I was just drawing a blank. And then my higher self stepped in, and she's just like, do you know what? This is a message, and this is something for you. Just let it sit for a little while first, and then when the time's right, it's all going to make sense. Don't worry about it for now. Just, hold it. And I was like, okay. So, anyway, when I said to you at the start of this episode, as I was talking along, and I said, oh, I've just realized something. Yeah, the thing I just realized was that this was perhaps one of the things that was blocking me. And so when I'd asked for the help removing my blocks, I think this is the law of intention idea is just what's popped in. So anyway, I tried to put it out of my mind for the rest of the day yesterday. So this happened early in the morning. I just went about my day, had a lovely day, a beautiful, gorgeous accommodation, of course, a beautiful environment, just loving everything. And then in the evening, I felt compelled to get out the pen and paper and start writing. That is how I process things, but it's also how I feel I receive guidance. For me, it's the power of pen to paper. It doesn't happen for me if I'm just trying to type on a keyboard. It's the act of writing. So I start writing, and I am going to share with you exactly what I have written, because I think this is massive and it is so big and it is so special and it is so powerful that I could not share it with you. So buckle up, because we're going to do some big work right here, and I'm going to be very vulnerable with you and share with you what it meant for me. As I said, it's also a little bit raw. I'm still processing it. So yeah, I'm going to use examples from my life and business to sort of share with you what came through. But I'll also invite you to share examples from your life and business about, so it makes sense for you as well. Okay. Now, you must remember that when I first start writing, it takes me a couple of pages. And I'm talking like I've got the big A4 spiral notebook from Kmart. Um, I I buy them from Kmart because they're cheap and I use loads of them. So anyway, this just happened to be in the car and it was available, so I just grabbed it. But anyway, I wrote out a few pages first, and then I hit a wall. Like I couldn't think of anything else to write. And like I say to my beautiful clients, that's good. Like when you hit that space where you can't think of anything else to write or you don't have anything left to say, push on, because that's where the gold is. And guess what, my friends? This is where the gold is. So if you hear me turning pages, that's what it is. I am literally sharing with you, very raw, very real, exactly what came through after the hitting the wall thing, right? So this is all the gold. So law of intention, it's not actually a thing, by the way. It's just something I was going to say that I made up, but I didn't even make it up, right? It's just been downloaded, it's been received, it's been whatever. So anyway, this is what I understand it to be. This is what I've got in my notes. The law of intention. It's not about what you do or don't do in your business. It's everything about the why. A universal law or a law is a guiding or ever-present principle. And the purpose of it is to provide context or understanding, right? So it's not about what you do or what you don't do. It's about what's underneath that, right? Like motivation, for example. Okay. And when we think about it as a law, it's a principle, right? Which means that it applies not only to your business, but it can apply to other areas of your life too. So for me, I was being guided to look at the things I want to manifest in my business now through the lens of intention. Why do I want these things? What will they lead to, or what will they give me access to that I don't have now? But it goes beyond that. It invites you to look at the present through the lens of intention. So, for example, to identify a behavior, something you're doing or not doing in your business now, and to ask yourself what's causing you to do that, what's motivating you to do that. Maybe, for example, you know that the average session fee, if you're a counselor, maybe you know the average session fee is $150 if you're with ACA, pack for say $160. So let's split it down the middle and say $155. You know that the average session fee is $155. You know you're charging $100, right? You're undercharging. So the law of intention might guide you to ask yourself, why am I doing that? What's my intention? So you might say to the world, well, you know what? It's my intention to be accessible and it's my intention to be affordable so that I can help more people. But law of intention says, okay, but every light has a shadow. So that is your light. Let's look at the shadow. Let's look at what's really going on here. And it might prompt you to ask yourself, do you think maybe you're charging such a low fee to avoid possible rejection? Right, because that's not nice, is it? Like, if people say they don't want to work with you and it's because of the fee, that's a rejection. It doesn't feel good, doesn't feel nice. So is it you don't want to experience that feeling? And so in your mind, you're like, well, I won't experience that feeling if I make my services affordable, right? That's what I mean. It's like getting raw and real with yourself, okay? So it might not necessarily be rejection. It might be something else. Like it could be to avoid a feeling, like a feeling of failure. So if I charge the 155 and nobody books, that will mean I'm not a good therapist. That will mean I'm not good at business. Like you make it mean something that's uncomfortable or unpleasant you don't want to feel potentially. And is that what's behind it? So it's asking you really look at the shadow side of what you're doing, okay? Everything has a light and a shadow side. So although your ego mind might be telling you that you undercharge to um, you undercharge so that your service is more accessible, is it possible that the intention is to avoid feeling the discomfort or maybe unworthiness or whatever adjective or feeling you might be experiencing that may arise if you actually charge the recommended fee but didn't get bookings, right? Okay. So the thing that I had been asking for, wanting to manifest, were for things like my migraine to go away or to subside, and for any blocks I may have around, sorry, I'm just struggling to read my writing, around my, I don't know, something to be dissolved so that I may enjoy a clear path to my goals. That blocks experienced by others when it comes to accessing support from me were removed so that they can finally get the care, attention, love, guidance, support, tools, strategies, and resources that they need in order to bring their private practice dreams to life and things like that, right? When I think about the law of intention and how it relates to that, it makes me become more aware of what I'm doing or avoiding or even not doing at all, and invites me to look underneath. So, one of the things that I've struggled with again, largely related to my childhood trauma, that I honestly believe sparked the ADD in me is boundaries. Okay, so one of the things I've struggled with is boundaries. I really feel like I went through childhood trauma when I was a little girl. I think that's probably what contributed to the ADD, and yet now have troubles with boundaries, which of course is code for people pleasing, right? Anyway, and if I look at it, so I'm just reading my notes again, and if I look at it, I can see there are so many instances of where I wanted to say or do something or hold firm to, but I didn't because I was afraid of upsetting the other person, right? Or having them be unhappy with me. Because when you're a people pleaser, that is the worst thing in the world. To feel like you've upset someone, to feel like someone doesn't like you anymore, to feel like you haven't got somebody's approval, to feel like somebody's withdrawing their approval. All those things are so painful and they hurt so, 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 so much, especially when you've got ADD and possibly even RSD, which is that rejection sensitive dysphoria. So can you see how all of this was going on in my business and impacting my ability to hold on firmly to my boundaries, right? Back to the notes. I had learned early as a child just how important it was for me and my survival, and perceived it back then to ensure that everyone around me was very happy with me, with what I was saying, how I was showing up, who I was being, what I was doing, how I was behaving. That I was bringing joy by fixing things for people, that I was, you know, giving more and things like that. That I was solving problems for them, that I was fixing things. So, anytime someone in my world was upset, I felt responsible to go and fix it because I believed if they were struggling or if they weren't happy or something like that, I didn't have the right to be happy. I was a bad person if I was happy. So then I would do everything in my power to try and fix things for them so they got to a point of happiness, whatever that looked like. And then it was like I could exhale, I could calm down, regulate my nervous system, and then boom, I could be happy. Right? I don't know if you can relate to any of this or not. I told you it was like me being very honest with you here, just showing you the example. So back to the notes. I go on to say I'd learned that if someone around me wasn't happy with something I'd done, that I must be a bad person or not worth anyone's time, and that I had myself no right to be happy in that moment. So when I got older and I started learning about things like boundaries, for me it was so hard, and I used to think it was total BS. Like, I would wonder how people were setting them and still surviving, right? How on earth are other people in the world, how on earth are other women in business putting boundaries in place, sticking to them, and still being okay, right? Like, I didn't understand that. On with the notes. Subconsciously, I had, I see now through my journaling, subconsciously, I had created a binary view of boundaries that looks something like this. It looked like I either set a boundary and stick to it to look after myself or look after my business, but it means that I get disliked or disapproved of, or someone withdraws something from me. Or I can have a boundary, not enforce it, still have the other person like me, but now it's costing me something. It's costing me my own health or wellness. It's costing me financially. It's costing my lifestyle, my family, my time. Like, do you know what I mean? But at least the other person is still happy, so that's okay. Do you see how I made it like binary? It was either this or that. I can have a boundary, but somebody won't like me if I enforce it, or um, I can have a boundary, not enforce it, wear the consequences of that, but still have somebody like me. So I can't believe like this was what was going on. Back to the notes. Through the lens of the law of intention, we can take that example right there and look at my past behaviors and ask what was really going on where I didn't stick to that boundary, right? I can clearly see that it was to avoid being disliked or disapproved of by someone. And then this brought me to the idea of what if boundaries in the business were not binary? I know, it's like, what? Is it possible? Is it a thing? And then my notes say, what if it was possible to have a boundary, stick with it or hold to it in the business, and remain connected to the other person? Like, what if that were possible? What if that was a thing? Like, what if I could really do that? What if somebody tried to do something in or around my business that was crossing a boundary that I have in my business, and I held firmly, gently, kindly, compassionately, but I held firmly to that boundary, and I didn't lose that person's approval. I didn't lose that person from my orbit. They didn't withdraw their approval from me. They still saw me as a good person. Like, what if all of this was possible? What if I could actually have both, right? It's like, whoa. Um, and then back to my notes, which then opened the door to questions such as, what would that even look like? And another question, what would that even feel like? Like, imagine the feeling of being able to hold a boundary in your business as a people pleaser with neurodivergence or whatever it is, um, and still have a healthy, functioning, respectful, kind, thriving relationship with the other person. Like, what? Just imagine what that would feel like. That would feel like, wow. I mean, just imagine being able to adhere to a boundary and not have the other person dislike you. And what if any of holding the boundary, my writing. What if the way of holding a boundary actually provided the person with a stronger, with a deeper connection to me or to you, right? um, because the boundary provided them with that safe container, with that loving framework. I know, right? This is huge. So, what if actually holding the boundary in your business gave that other person more connection to you, more liking of you, more wanting to be in your world, in your space? Do you know what I mean? Like, what if it gave you more of the things that you're really wanting, right? And then back to the notes. And what if holding the boundary became an act of kindness and support by creating a space to do the work with someone? Because oftentimes I believe that people break boundaries because of things that are going on with them. They have nothing to do with us, right? Maybe there's self sabotage going on. Maybe there's self-worth stuff coming up for them. Maybe they're starting to see results or they're starting to see change, and that's feeling really uncomfortable. And so they want to bail before it gets more uncomfortable, right? So they're like, oh, I'm pulling out, I'm pulling out, I'm pulling out. Like, what if there's fear of success? What if there's fear of failure? Um, what if there's unwanted, unhelpful self talk going on for that person? What if their self belief or their self concept is starting to shift and change, like their identity is starting to shift and change, and that feels uncomfortable for them? Do you know what I mean? And so their solution is to get out of your space, like stop doing your course, stop doing the therapeutic work with you, stop doing your program, like whatever it is you've got going on in your practice, right? um and what if this boundary that they want to break is actually a beautiful opportunity to do that work with them? What if they're whatever it is that's coming up, what if that's a manifestation of something that's rising up because you're the person that is needed in that space at that time to support them in dismantling it or processing it or working through it, right? Back to the notes. What if something within them is actually, yeah, just what I said, actually rising up and manifesting for the purpose of being brought into the light and being seen in that safe container with you, right? This person didn't just ghost you or me. They've come to us directly, and maybe they've done something like, oh, I'm halfway through your program, or I'm halfway through your course, or we're halfway through sessions. So I think I'm just going to stop. I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm out. I'm canceling everything. What if the reason that they're coming to you directly on a subconscious level, instead of just ghosting you and disappearing altogether, what if the reason that they're coming to you directly subconsciously is because they trust you enough to recognize what's actually going on? It's not about the course or the program or their work with you. It's about what's going on within them. And you are the person. You've created the space. You share that container. That's where they feel safe. And they're coming to you because they're looking to you to help them process it. Maybe that's what's happening, right? Um, And back to my notes. And what if this right here is their opportunity to process it, right? Now, if somebody wants to stop working with you, right? There's an old saying that says somebody is always enrolling somebody. Now, if somebody comes to you and they say, yeah, I'm going to stop, yeah, I don't want to book any more counseling sessions, and they give you a reason, whatever it is. Now, um, if you go along with that and you say, oh, okay, that's fine, well, keep in touch. If you need anything, you know where to find me, right? Versus, what if that person is experiencing something that you don't know about, but that's coming up for them? Like, what if they're starting to shift their mindset as a result of working for you? And now they're starting to become aware of all these other things that are going on in their life, and it's feeling a little bit overwhelming. And so they're thinking, I don't want to be in this space of overwhelm, so I'm going to stop counseling. What if when they come to you and they say, oh, yeah, listen, I think I'm okay now. I think I'm going to stop, da, da, da. What if instead of saying okay, you got curious and you asked them the questions that would help to identify whether or not there was something beneath the surface that could be coming up for them? And when you identify that thing in that conversation, get the permission and say something along the lines of, wow, thank you so much for sharing that, your transparency. I appreciate how hard that must be. And I really appreciate you coming to me directly with this. Is this something that you would like to spend a minute on now, just sort of working through together? Because I've got some ways, like I've got some insights, I've got some ideas. Would you like me to share them with you? Would that be helpful? And give them an experience of being, what do I want to say, like being, it's more than seen. It's you doing your job. It's you recognizing okay, something's going on here. This is out of the blue. Something's not right. Something's going on here. I want to help this person get to the bottom of it. And, this is a space to do it. Imagine what it's going to be like for that person to have that experience of actually being seen, of being able to identify what's actually going on beneath the surface, and then having the experience of you supporting them through it. Wouldn't that be more powerful for them than you just saying, okay, that's fine, don't come back? Do you see what I'm saying here? It's huge. Um, and so back to my notes. And what if you showed up for them and you held the space and you supported them in it? Just wound up my window. It's getting a bit stuffy in here. Back to notes again. Now, do you see how holding boundaries isn't necessarily binary at all anymore? In fact, holding a boundary is an opportunity. And I feel now, in the way that I'm looking at it now, I feel like it's a very sacred opportunity. Like, this is where the big stuff happens. You're meeting somebody in their moment where they're on the edge of the cliff. And, their ego mind is going to do everything it can. Their reptilian brain is going to do everything they can to keep them safe and pull them away from the cliff, right? That this is where you get to show up and support them and help them. And so I see it as very sacred to actually strengthening that connection that you have with them by providing them with the safety and the support required in order for that person to heal something like maybe a wound, a pattern, or a block, for example, and finally release it. And in doing so, actually unlock the pathway for them to realize their true potential and to manifest things like abundance. Like, this is freaking huge. Anyway, so do you see how the law of intention works? It is so, 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 so powerful. Last page, don't worry. And you can apply it to so many areas of your business for how you handle things. Anything in your business. Look at how you currently handle things like your payments, how you set your fees, the services that you offer, and how you offer them. Like, if you're holding back somewhere, what's really going on there? Think about your social media. Like, what are you posting and what's really going on? Like, you understand the light side, but what's the shadow side for you? Like, if you're doing the things like, here are 5 breathing techniques you can use, blah blah blah, and it's like all the boring information that we see so much, like, it's saturated on Instagram. It's not landing for your ideal clients because it's so generic, and like, you're doing it, the shiny way that you're doing it is you're saying, oh, I'm doing it because I know I have to post on social media if I want to get a client, and I'm putting up stuff that is going to be useful, and I've seen other people do it, therefore it's safe for me to do it. But and I'm putting it up because I want to help people, sure, but what's really going on about what you're posting and why you're posting it? Are you putting up, like, just hypothetically speaking, are you putting up generic stuff because you're afraid that if you speak your truth, you're going to get into trouble? Are you afraid that if you speak your truth, someone might not like you? Are you afraid that if you speak your truth, you won't get a client? Are you, like, what is going on? And that's what the law of intention invites you to look at, because when you can be real with yourself and uncover what's really going on, you get to self-coach and clear your own blocks to unlocking the potential for all the things you want in your practice. And it extends beyond that, of course, into other areas of your life. Does that make sense? Or can I get a amen? Like, do you know what I mean? Like, this is so, 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 so helpful. And it is so helpful. I'm just thinking too about other situations where it might be showing up in your business. And, what if you were able to, with that new awareness, work on it, work through it, reframe it, all those kinds of things? What would then happen with the post that you're putting on your social? You would then feel more aligned with speaking your truth, having your voice, sharing your thoughts, your perspective, your strong point of view, your opinion, being all of you, not just showing up as 5% or 25% or 80%, but actually showing up as 100% of you without fear. What do you think would become possible for your business then? What type of clients do you think would come and work with you then? Right? What would you be able to let go of then? What would you be able to stop doing in your business then? Do you know what I mean? It's big. It is big, 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 big. Okay, back to the notes. And of course, we all want to manifest things in our business, through the business, for ourselves, to improve our lives and to improve the lives of others. But here's the thing about manifesting: you're already doing it. Okay, manifesting is not a future thing. You are already doing it, whether you are aware of it or not, whether you, I'm just going to wind up the window because that truck is beeping and it's bothering me. Um, you're already doing it. So everything that you're seeing in the business right now is a direct manifestation of things like your past thoughts, the past actions that you took. The past actions you took were aligned to this outcome that you've got now. Right? You're responsible for this outcome that you've got now. The way you were thinking, the way you were feeling, the things you didn't do, the things you didn't think, the mindset you had, the mindset you didn't have, all of those things created the experience that you've got right now in your business. So you are already manifesting. Maybe you weren't doing it consciously, maybe you weren't doing it intentionally, but now you get to be intentional and be conscious about calling in the things that you really want to be experiencing for yourself and others, right? In everybody's highest good, of course. Um, okay. Back to my notes. And so looking at what you truly deeply want and the behaviors that you've been engaging in through the lens of the law of intention can absolutely unlock greater insights for you that will in turn lead to behavioral and mindset shifts, which will in turn lead to the manifestation of the next desired thing in your business. And isn't that a wonderful thing? Isn't that such a wonderful thing? So, when I was driving to my holiday yesterday and I was asking for blocks to be cleared, and I asked for my own blocks to be cleared, and then I get this download about the law of intention, which doesn't even exist. I mean, it exists now, right? It's been manifested. It's on my notebook. I'm reading you what's on my notebook, and now it's out there in the world. Um, and it's all a beautiful thing in that. But I was asking for blocks to be removed, and I never expected to receive a message to look at what I want in my business through the lens of intention and what I'm doing. And I shared just one example for you there of boundaries, but for you it could be something else, right? For you it might be around, maybe you're really really good at holding firm to your boundaries. For you, maybe it's around, I don't know, the money, and you don't chase up invoices. Like, you really don't like asking people for payment or money. Or maybe it's that you overgive because of something else that might be going on for you. And I've shared with you here, like, total transparency. Like, yeah, I've got ADD, but as I said, I really believe that there's an overlap for me between the ADD, the people pleasing, and the trauma. I think they're all connected and they're all works in progress. The ADD is a very recent diagnosis. Yeah, it's something I'm working on. Happy to share like a journey. But just think about you and what might be going on for you. And then once you see what's happening, it then allows you to work on it, release it, that releasing then unlocks new possibilities for you in your practice that you don't have access to right now, that you might not even be aware of right now, that you just can't even see right now. Okay. So, yeah, we get to do all of this sort of deeper work when we work one on one inside Practice Momentum. And if any of this that I've just shared with you today is resonating, if you're saying, oh my gosh, it's like you're in my head, if you're saying, oh, I totally get this or that, or this sounds interesting, if any of it's resonating with you, let me know. The doors to Momentum close in a week. And I would love to be able to welcome you into our circle and be part of our beautiful community, because I believe that as a woman in business, as a woman in private practice, you have a divine right to be successful and abundant, to create a ripple effect, to have the impact, and to receive the financial abundance that's in the highest good for you, your family, your friends, your community, your loved ones, the universe, the world. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's all there waiting for you. It's all possible for you. So, yeah, let me know. But anyway, thank you so much for listening. Um, I really appreciate you so much, and I hope that this was interesting. Thank you so much for being part of my world. Bye.